something like that. And you know, I tweeted to the guy, and he's like, "Well, what are you trying to say?"
What are you suggesting?
Dude, I'm like, dude, the season just started. Like save the butt hurt, and you know, I've been forgetting to like show up on his feed and been like, "Hey, remember this? Remember this?" Um, but yeah, that it's like you never know like how the season can play out. So I always been against the whole sack coach. There's only like the obvious. The team is like horrible where they're getting like they're losing like 3-0, 4-0. They just look clueless. But most of the time, it's a couple results that don't go their way, or something's missing, or players got injured, or you're missing key players, and that's obviously affecting the team. And so I wouldn't be like you know go to that extreme of like having someone lose their job. It's I'll say it's one of my disappointments for like hearing like the Mexican media, because it's like, dude, no one's judging you like that.
Yeah.
No, or you're not holding yourself to that standard of you got something wrong. You're not gonna be like, you know what, I don't deserve to be the host, or I don't deserve to be in this panel. I'm gonna pack my shit and leave. They just pretend that they didn't say anything, or they just don't bring it up again.
Hmm.
So I never liked that, the whole, oh, this guy has to go, and I don't watch those shows enough to see if sometimes people put him, like remind them, hey, what happened here.
Yeah. Well, look, let's take a look at the last 5 matches for Chivas. They got 4 victories now as of today and 1 draw. The controversial draw against Toluca. Again, I didn't see it, so I know that there was like a penalty not called or something. Um, Even Chivas kind of put a slight on their Twitter, but nonetheless, the Dick Chain gang is all is all here. Yeah, he's bounced back ever since that old man pulled him to the side and gave him some tactical advice. And since then, man, the team's in a different gear. Now, I don't want to put a damper on everyone's party, but in in 10 days, Chivas is gonna play 3 matches. So we'll see if they can continue to play football champagne. They do have Puebla on Saturday at home. Then they have a makeup match between Tigres on Tuesday, and then the Super Clásico against America on Saturday. So 3 matches in 10 days. We'll see how it goes.
Yeah, I think what helps them there, it's the youth. They have a lot of youth, a lot of fresh legs. Um, the saying is, the youth would lead you to the championship, but it's the veterans that would win it for you, something along the way. So that'll be sort of my stand too with Chivas if they go into Liguilla and start playing. I think that's where some of the veteran players, show up. Every now and then you do see some young teams that, you know, go they go the extra mile, and they'll do end up winning it.
We'll see what happens. A lot can happen in a couple of weeks. I mean, we've seen it with Chivas firsthand go from zero to hero. Currently sitting in the 7th spot. Not a bad place to be in. 19 points. Toluca with 22. Tigres in 5th with 24. They actually had a really good match today against Toluca.
How
And
was that result?
Tigres won. Yeah, they beat them. But
Was
shoot.
it at the Volcano?
Yeah. Yeah, they
They were
had
playing
a
at home.
they're at home. I was kind of confused with it was like the second goal or the third goal where there was like a defensive error And then it looked like Gignac had given it to Cordova, like as a pass, and he was like way offside, but it was a deflection from the defender. So they originally had flagged it offside, and then they went to VAR and gave it a goal. So yeah, a 3-1 victory for Tigres. And I hate to admit it, man, Cordova's looking good, bro. He's looking good. Looks like Piojo's gotten the best out of him. And even the World Cup winner, Florante Alvin, scored. So Tigres are a scary team, and we're going to be facing them pretty soon. Should be a good matchup.
Yes, it should.
I wish Chiquis was here so we can celebrate a little bit. His Pumas actually finally won. Pretty significant, substantial victory over Querétaro, 4-1. So good for them.
They finally. That's the other coach that has been getting a lot of flack.
Ligini.
Liliani, yes, Liliani. Um, people calling for his head and whatnot. I think there's been circumstances, out of his control, and he's proven to do pretty good with what he has. So I mean, one bad season, I wouldn't use that to fire a coach.
I mean, this guy has been a miracle worker. Like what he's done with this club, like
Yeah, he
with
took him to a final.
with what he's been given, like I don't think anybody else would be doing a better job than him, if I'm being honest. But with the Danny Alves controversy, bringing him and hyping it up, and then just for him to collect a paycheck.
not just bringing him, but like with imposed, like he has to start and he has to play.
Oh
You
yeah,
know,
yeah, with all the stipulations with the contract. But yeah, I mean, if you're Pumas, man, you had a good week because you kept Atlas at bay 0-0, the bicampeón, and then you got a victory against Querétaro. You're no longer at the very bottom. You're
we
still you're still down there with
Atlas
13 points. But
it was Atlas bicampeón, and we wondered could they be the first to be to three-peat,
hell no.
and it seems like they might not even get to Liguilla.
They're almost out of games, bro. We're at 14 fixtures for them. They've only gotten 2 victories, 4 draws, 8 losses. They're in 17th position with 10 points. And let me see, mathematically, are they still? Yeah, I mean, mathematically, they could still get in there, but I doubt it. The most they can end up with the season is 19 points. So I doubt it.
Yeah, I think they'll bounce back. Knowing Grupo Orlegui, they probably already have. They probably already have you know,
Yeah, we had some interesting results. San Luis Tijuana 0-0. They kicked things off on September 1st. Querétaro and Puebla tied 1-1. Necaxa beat León 3-2. Juárez tied with Cruz Azul 2-2. Pachuca 2 over Santos. And Rayados couldn't beat Mazatlan. They stayed 0-0. America got a good victory over Tigres.
they're the league leaders now, right?
2-1. We do have Ricardo standing by. I do have a bone to pick with him. But yeah, America got their victory against Tigres. And then yesterday, another victory over San Luis. And with that, they are at the top with a game at hand. 13 matches played, 28 points. On fire, man. I'm going to invite Ricardo to speak, see if he has something for us. But we've seen this before, I feel. I feel like we've seen this before with their old coach. And
Solari?
yeah, like they were doing so good in the regular season. They get to the playoffs, get eliminated in the first round or second round or whatever. So it's like we a false positive. Is this fool's gold, Ricardo, or are they the real deal right now? I don't know if his mic's working.
Yeah, he's still only as listener right now.
Oh, okay. I'll try it again.
Oh shit, Codazzo's here.
Yeah, sorry, man.
I
I'm over
didn't.
at the airport. I'm at the airport right now and trying to listen in and
Oh
trying to
yeah.
jump in where I can, just so I don't make too much noise. But man, I wanted to jump in with the Chivas thing, and it's something that we discussed in the past. Where you know, right now that there's no descenso, why not write it out with the coach, right? And Chivas is writing it out with Dick Chain, and I guess it's bearing decent fruit at least for the moment, right? I think Chivas still has 4 games to play in total, and I mean, right now seventh position, not bad, right?
Not bad seventh, but let me see. They're probably not that far from the from like
They're
fourth.
they're, they're well, they're 3 behind Toluca, which is sixth, and then fourth is 25 points, so that's 6 points out.
I'm telling you
Two
right
two
now,
games.
they're not gonna
Five
finish
po-
top four.
I don't think so either. No,
They might be able to take some points away from America and Tigres and kind of stagnate them, but I mean, they would have to literally
I'd be happy with seventh.
they would have to win out. They would have to win out the rest of the season if they want a chance at top four.
Oh wait, we're still doing the top four, right? The league is still doing the
Yeah, the top four
top four is still.
get a bye week. Yep, which in the past has kind of proven to be a disadvantage because you have a week without rhythm, or with a week out without matches, and then yeah, by the time you go into the first game, like the other team's kind of like already in form or has a momentum going, so it's kind of proven to be a disadvantage to have a week off, but we'll see.
yeah, it doesn't mean great, that's for sure. But no, I'm really glad that there's that right now Chivas has taken advantage of this opportunity by not sacking the coach when everybody thought he was gone, including myself. I thought they were going to can him, but when the situation Chivas is in, they need to give somebody a long term project. And I mean, I know so far it's not been a full year with Dick Chain, but let him coach. Let's see what he can do.
Well,
We're
well,
not in any danger. We're not in any danger of getting let.
the projects with Pelaez,
Well,
and I feel it's the thing how they do it with Pachuca, and Santos, where they could switch up the coach and the team, their teams bounce
right,
back. They don't have to start all over again because
right,
the directiva is in charge of like bringing the players or keeping tabs on the youth, as opposed to when you have a coach and he's in charge of all of that. He'll bring in 4 or 5 players, and then the next season he'll bring in 2 or 3 more. Now you're stuck with like 8. You with a whole team of 8 that another coach built. So if you bring in a new one, he's like they might not be to his liking or whatnot. So so it's kind of messy. It could be messy, but when you have like a director deportivo, like the directiva is overseeing everything, then that's not so much a problem. Which is where I feel like my Chia hermanos didn't give enough credit to Buse because he didn't get to bring a player. He never complained. But let's say had he brought players, it would have, you know, you know, it would have it would have set the team back as far as like, well, these, if those players didn't pan out, which I will assume they didn't if they sacked him, even though they sacked him on a, what was it, 4 or 5 game unbeaten streak, which makes the whole thing even more weird.
Yep.
and I don't remember was he getting blown out? I don't think he was getting blown out, was he?
No, no,
No, right?
he had like 4 games without losing or 5. They even beat Pachuca. That's the game they beat him. They sack him right after he beats Pachuca.
And this is leading up to the Clásico.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It was a whole año thing, man. That's what I feel sucks with the whole. They had Pelaez there working on something, and then this dude comes in and he interrupts it. Um, but you know that saying, "Out of chaos comes order." I don't think the team would have played as good with Buse because he's like how they call him, El Rey Miedos. Very, very defensive, very, very conservative. And I feel with Kane, I think he's more willing to take risks and whatnot. And you're seeing some of the players like Beltran that were pretty much sidelined,
And he
standing out
doesn't have
now.
anything to lose, right? I mean,
No,
he's a relatively unknown, and
no,
whatever he does,
it
right?
sounds like
You're Charlie Brown.
what the
Wah,
heck?
wah, wah, wah.
What's
Um,
going on?
I think he's at the airport he mentioned earlier.
No,
But
No, that was me. Yeah.
that was you.
Well, not me. That was the airport.
That was the airport. I thought it was Ricardo talking. I was
It,
like,
no.
what?
it was an announcement that Chivas won. That's all.
Oh, good.
Hey, I think Ricardo's off. I think he's finally on speaker. I think.
Yeah. You know it's crazy. We live in a timeline where Thomas Tuchel, who took Chelsea to a Champions League and won it, is out of a job, and Dick Chain has a job. What a time to be alive. I woke up this morning to the news that Chelsea had fired their coach after they had given him all the players that he had asked for in the transfer window. They're like, all right, now get the fuck out. And you know what? I'm trying to tie this back into Mexico, but Edson Alvarez was like screaming and begging Ajax to let him go, and to join Chelsea because they needed a center defensive midfielder, and he dodged a bullet, man. Happens a lot in Mexican football where the coach requests this player, gets canned, then all of a sudden they're like, well, what do we do with you? We don't want you anymore.
Yes, especially it happens more with the Mexican international.
Yeah. Um, kind of trying to swing the pendulum the other way with America on top. I do have a bone to pick with Ricardo. Fuck. What is that?
Oh, you guys have to excuse me. Hace frío en la cima.
You know what's also very cold and might put me to sleep is the damn Netflix special, man. That was I had to turn it off after like 20 minutes, bro. It was too boring.
To that's
Gentlemen, I'm gonna have
I
to jump off here. My flight's about to board.
All
Good
right,
luck
man.
with the
Have
rest
a
of the
safe
show.
flight.
Talk to you guys soon.
Yeah.
stay safe. But Jaime, you're detracting from the main point here. Hace frío en la cima. America's number one, and we're looking down. We're not looking up. It's 74 degrees in Houston, but hace frío en Guapa.
Yeah. We'll see if y'all stay cold though when it comes to the playoffs.
I see you're worried though.
I ain't worried, bro. I ain't
A
worried about
lot.
Medica.
I see all the Chivas, the old supposed ídolos on Twitter, all worried. They're worried. They start bringing up the ref, the excuses, the league already chose the winner. There's definitely worry in the back of their minds.
Yo, I'm trying to
Like
figure out how big is your winning streak right now?
it's a 8-game winning streak.
Just a perfect time for us to beat you guys and ruin that for y'all.
I don't see that happening with I overheard Joel saying Cadena as a risk taker. That guy's a ratonero, man. You see his teams play. they got they got the bunkers steady in the back, and whenever they have the ball straight, they go the ball goes straight to Vega or el Pene Beltran.
I said more willing to take risks, Ricardo. More willing
Oh, okay.
than
I
than
misunderstood,
than
but
than than.
my point stands, Ratonero.
Hey, he would have been at 5 wins if they wouldn't have taken those. The
Yeah, but
Toluca.
this team isn't playing good. There's a lot of the Report fans, the Chivas Barra Brava reporters. They're
Yeah.
saying, yeah,
Um.
Chivas is playing good, this and that, but they have to say that because they're getting paid, right? But you break down these games they won. The Monterrey game, good win, wasn't pretty. What could that goal that the first Peruano that Chivas signed?
Yeah.
That was a messy goal.
The first of many. Um. No, but you know what? This is a team that is not like man player for player. It's not one of the stronger teams. It's not top four.
Oh,
They're somewhere between.
they're definitely overachieving. I'll admit to that. And I might have to eat a little bit of crow because I'm man enough to admit when I was wrong. And my this recent game with Tijuana, that kid I was shitting on that you guys have, the Chupete,
Yeah.
he looked pretty good. I won't deny that. And the that second goal you guys scored today, it was thanks to he's a tall kid. I noticed I had to look him up. He's about 6'2", 6'3",
Mm.
Yeah.
and the second goal was a result of him winning that loose ball, and that other guy that looks like a tonto scoring the goal. So I'll
uh,
give credit where credit is due, but I don't appreciate the Chi Hermanos already making excuses because the 14's on its way.
man, I love your confidence, man. I cannot wait to see it get absolutely crushed when it comes to the playoffs, man. You can do great. You can do great for 17 weeks in a row, man. But when it comes to playoffs, that's where your true colors come out.
You're right about that. But I also overheard you had a bone to pick with the Cantina MX #1 fan. I'd like to hear this bone.
Yes.
Oh, I'm talking about the Netflix show, man.
Oh,
It's not good. I
oh,
I thought that they would, being America, kind of make it obnoxious and but also have like a little bit of swagger to it. But I don't know,
mm-hmm.
man. It's kind of like all over the place, and for like the amount of history and like what the team represents to like Mexican football. And another thing too is like this is also a lot of people's first impression because they're not familiar with America, they're not familiar with Liga MX. So I was really expecting like a really good show and like it would even capture or captivate an audience that typically doesn't know that much about Mexican football. And I don't think this is it, Chief.
you I echo your words. You're completely right. If I had to give it a rating, maybe a 6 out of 10 at best, five at worst. I mean, four, yeah, around five at worst. You bring up a lot of good points. Like you said, there's a lot of first-time watchers that don't know who America is or what it stands for. But like you said, it's a little bit all over the place. I personally didn't like that they didn't necessarily the way it was structured. I
Yeah.
would have preferred or like the origins. Like we didn't really get that.
Yeah.
We just got up to the point where Televisa bought America, and that's all, and that's understandable. I mean, I'm pretty sure Azcárraga and Televisa had to give the thumbs up to make the documentary to begin with, right?
Yeah.
But like I knew about that stuff about them being named the Canarios, like that little yellow bird,
Mm-hmm.
because my late uncle told me all about that stuff. but a lot of other people don't know about that stuff.
It's crazy to think that like at one point America was considered like a equipo chico or something. That's
Yeah,
crazy
well,
to me.
yeah, non-existent.
Yeah.
You're right. And another bone I would have to pick with the documentary is the fact that they gave a little bit of limelight to a bunch of lanes, kind of like Bruno Valdez. Like who the hell is this guy? He's a nobody compared to the other guys that had like my guy Hermosillo and Cristobal Ortega, legends of the sport of America, especially Hermosillo because he scored on that final against Chivas, and then again in Necaxa, another one of my favorite finals where he humiliated you guys. So I love that guy to death, even though a lot of Americanistas hate on him because he won
With
with
Cruz
Cruz
Azul.
Azul.
Yeah.
But the guy won six titles. I mean, how is he not a part of your history, right?
Yeah.
And another part I didn't really appreciate was the fact that they kind of left out those. They kind of rushed through the end, like they skipped through those last finals that we won against Tigres and Cruz Azul, and they kind of and another reason, another understandable reason that they didn't really highlight the Libertadores or Sudamerica. I'm biased in that obviously because I love those moments, but like that Sudamericana final, like Fox Sports obviously has the rights to that, so they
Yeah.
weren't gonna be able to show that, right?
Yeah.
But I would have enjoyed seeing some of that stuff.
Yeah. Like I said, man, I only got through like maybe a half hour of it, but I just don't like the way it started because again, like for me and you, we kind of know a little bit about the history, but like for people that just don't know anything about Liga MX, like you have to get them by the balls right from the beginning. And just to give you like a little bit of perspective, like I'm watching this fucking show on FX called Wrexham, and it's like, bro, it's like entertaining because like they hook you because it's like Ryan Reynolds and the guy from It's Always Sunny in Philadelphia, but like
Hmm.
they do a such a you can tell that like they're Hollywood and they know how to like structure like a show, and like that's how you're supposed to do it. It's like you're supposed to kind of like lead them into like, and it's like, dude, like America's like the bad boys, like the Yankees of like Mexico, and like I don't think
They
like
didn't
you're,
capture that.
yeah, exactly, like embracing like that sort of like image. Like I feel like they could have done a much better job.
You're right. Like you said, if two words to describe it is well, not two words. I mean, but if I had to describe it, it's all over the place and doesn't have any structure.
Yeah.
But what I will say, what I did enjoy was the canteranos getting some love, like Cuauhtémoc, Sage, like I mentioned earlier, Hermosillo, Cristobal, Ortega, Alfredo Tena. But what I really loved is how the truth came out in that final, where they even highlighted the Chivas players, Girarte and those guys, where they admitted they resorted to Central American tactics to win that to win the semifinal before they faced America the year after in the final, where they pretty much said, "Oh, we're not good enough to beat them, so we're just gonna take one of their players out." I really appreciated that, admitting you're not skilled as America.
That's funny.
Oh,
Yeah.
and the parachute guys.
Parachute guys.
Yeah, they in that game there was two like in that boxing match with Reddick Bow and Evander Holyfield. There's like a parachute guy. There's two of them in that game. I'm, I don't have any proof, but I'm pretty sure Chivas sent them to disrupt the game.
I love it. I love it. But yeah, man, I think you guys are probably feeling high and mighty right now. Great win streak. And I mean, it doesn't look like it's slowing down anytime soon. And you guys have a game in hand. So, I mean, whew,
And,
good.
and you mentioned Solari earlier.
Uh huh.
If I would have to if I would have to compare and contrast from both these streaks, I would say Solari, he was getting it done, but it wasn't pretty, and it was effective, but there was always something that you could see that wasn't that these little moments that they got away with that they could have conceded goals or lost the game. But
Yeah.
with this streak, you can more or less see a style being imposed on another team, grit, and the ability to come back.
Mm. So,
And I don't see that with any other team.
so in your mind, you guys are winning this.
In my mind and everyone's mind, they just won't admit it.
I don't know, man.
I know Joel thinks we're gonna win it.
I do think they're favorites, and if it was by points, I would see them winning it. But Liguilla's a bastard. One slip up, one bad game, and that's all she wrote. And I
And
can,
I like that point you brought up, Joel, and I would agree with you about the
like,
Chivas being the streak. Yeah, I'm just busting you guys' balls, but I would agree that those fresh legs are helping
oh,
you
the
guys
youth.
out right now. Yeah,
Yeah,
in
the youth.
in these doble jornadas is
Yeah.
definitely an attributing factor.
You know, I've I need to go look for it again. I remember hearing this interview, and I think it was Ramon Morales, and it was like on 13:30 a.m. radio station here in LA, but I don't remember the show, and it's driving me crazy. And I managed to catch like a snippet of Moncho, and he was talking about his injuries, and he said how after training, after like training with the team, he had to go to this doctor that would inject him like in the legs. He said his legs would hurt a lot, like he would be in pain. And this is some of the stuff we don't know about players. So, a lot of times how they'll drag these injuries or carry these injuries or play injured. They get numbed a lot. We see
Cortisone
it in
shots,
the.
right?
I don't know, dude. I mean, I'm not sure what they're getting. Um,
That's
but
common with athletes. Cortisone shots
yeah, for like
in
the
the
pain.
knees, yeah, or to like,
Yeah,
yeah.
they talk about that in the Maradona. I think it's the HBO, the one that came out on HBO, the Maradona biography or whatever. And he talks about how he was, come game day, they would just shoot him up
Hmm.
so that he would be ready to play. The other one was, I don't know if you guys remember hearing about how Batistuta, now retired, how they almost cut his legs off.
No shit.
Yeah, he's talking about that, and he just be say he would be in so much pain, he'll be crying. Um, and it's like, well, like how many games did he play where he was hurt? You know, how often did he do this? That now that he's injured, he's paying the price. Um, so that's something that a lot of times we don't realize, and we'll think some of these players suck, and it's easy for us to be like, he's a fucking bum. I mean, and that's part of the reason many times because they're playing injured or they've been playing hurt. They've been dragging an injury where it's like they'll make them at least finish the season before you go under the knife or whatever. Um, so that happens. It happened to one of the Chiva players. I think it was Saldivar, one of those guys.
Sergio Avila had to retire early.
No, this guy didn't retire, but they kept like telling him not to get operated, and he went and he did it on his own.
Yeah.
Hmm.
Finally did it because he must have been in a lot of pain. This was during the Almeida tenure, and he just went on his own, and he was like, "Fuck this," and he just went and got diagnosed, and he went and did the surgery. Um, so yeah, that's just sometimes one of the advantages with some of these dudes because they're just starting. They're not fresher legs. They're not carrying injuries or whatnot. So yeah, a lot of times that's why some of these guys, end up looking better.
Or there's there's other cases where these guys dope,
That
like Zidane, for example, admitted blood doper.
Zidane or Zid? Wait,
Wait, blood doper, like to
Y-
get blood transfusion?
yeah, he admitted to it.
Oh, for
And
real.
Roberto Carlos also got accused by a German a couple years back by a German sports writer of blood doping as well. Like
so what
you,
did they
you
do?
see
Man,
you see these
Roberto.
superstars
Wait, but
and
wait. So what did they do?
nothing. They didn't do anything at all.
No, I mean
No,
like.
you mean the players?
No, I mean like what is that? What is that like?
Blood doping,
Yeah.
blood doping, more or less. They take your blood out of you. They add a certain other not chemicals, but other illegal substances to it. They spin it in a little machine and they stick it back into you.
No
And
shit.
that way you heal faster, you play harder, you play faster, and you're not as prone to injuries.
I remember
Damn,
like a
sci-fi
fighter
shit.
or like a boxer. Like I remember like part of his training was like they would take him up on a helicopter and then like draw his blood out because I think like when you're in a higher altitude, like you have more oxygen in your blood,
Hmm.
and then they would like put it back in his system. Like I don't know.
Oh, Mayweather and Pacquiao are accused of the same thing.
Oh
That
yeah, yeah. I
that
think they did it. Yeah.
yeah. Then you see Pacquiao, he has all those tattoos, and the only thing that's a little suspicious, the guy has all those tattoos, and then he says, in the prime of his career, he's saying, "Oh, I'm afraid of needles." Like, what kind of shit is that, man? And
I
Mayweather
do
as well,
remember him saying that. Yeah.
and Mayweather as well, in a certain because boxing is my second love. Not anymore because it's saturated and it's in the shits right now. But there's like I don't know if how familiar you guys are with boxing, but like before like a big fight,
Uh-huh.
like back in the day on HBO or on Showtime, they would have like a little like a lead up to it, like a
Yes.
24/7 to like hype up the show,
Oh, I used to
the
love
fight.
that.
I mean,
Yeah.
yeah. And in this certain episode, Mayweather's there. He's like he's describing the exact process of blood doping. He's like, oh, I got, but like in a hood voice, like, oh, I got a machine and it spits my blood and it stick it back into me, and that's blood doping, man.
But it's like
Like,
legal, right? It's not like, or is it
oh
illegal?
no, it's oh I don't know about how legal it is now, but
Oh,
I know in Europe at the time when Zidane was taking it, it was there was no restrictions at all. You
yeah.
know what they would say? They would say, "Me visitó el vampiro." They took blood out of me. Like these guys are like I'm
Well,
going to the extreme end,
yeah.
but
Here's
when you see these superstars, like it's not just them being extraordinary. Yeah, they're very skillful, but there's other things attributing to them being so elite and consistent.
well,
Yeah,
like,
it explains this
yeah.
blow up. I'm sorry, just really
Go ahead.
quick. How we did end up seeing, because um like in football with current athletes, they play way more games
Hmm.
than if you go back in the days. It was less games that they would play. Between between the league and like national teams. Now they play because there's so many more tournaments, and they'll play like Champions League, and they play so many more games now. It's insane, and it does take a toll on the body.
Yeah, like Pedri, right? They like showed a graph of how many games he had played for like between Barcelona and Spain. Like it was insane.
Hmm.
Yeah. But I mean, I think about like baseball, right? Like everyone in baseball is doing steroids. Like
Yeah.
so it's kind of like a unspoken thing, but like basically like if you're in the elite, if you're a pro, like you're going to do everything to gain an advantage and like everyone's doing it and it's just like only a handful get caught. But I feel like everyone when you're at that level is like trying to get an advantage some way or another.
Hmm. Well,
What was
definitely,
that?
it happens in every sport, and
Yeah, the Viking, what was his name?
yeah, like Lance
Armstrong.
Armstrong, like the
Lance.
the biggest example. an
Hey,
old guy getting faster and stronger than younger guys cycling.
but
Like that.
Bill Burr had a funny joke about that, right? Because eventually they find out that a lot of those guys were doping too.
Oh
Like
yeah,
they
yeah.
took this dude's medals and he was saying like our doping was just better than yours.
Yeah.
And it's kind of how it is in sports, because a lot of them are doing it. But I wanted to mention real quick now that you talked about Roberto Carlos, because man, those that dude's legs were insane. It looked
Yep.
like two midgets were carrying him. And Mexico played Brazil once, and they did the doping test, and they said that Claudio Suarez came out positive.
Hmm.
And Claudio Suarez, they were just trying to pin it on him. That dude flew to Switzerland and he got he paid for his own testing.
Claudio Suarez.
And yeah, and
Oh,
I
that's
think
I didn't know about that. That's interesting.
yes, sir. I mean, he's like, fuck this, I'm not just gonna wait for them to, he
Ruin
flew
his
to
name.
Switzerland. Yeah, he flew to Switzerland and you know, got some big company known to test them, and it was within the time frame, and they cleared him out, but then they sort of dropped that whole case. And I think it was one of the. I think Roberto Carlos was the other guy. Sometimes it's like one or two players from each team.
Remember when they
Oh, but
pulled Aaron Galindo and Salvador Carmona from our squad?
Was that Clembuterol or was that?
That was during the Confeds Cup in 2005. That was crazy.
I think
and
what could it be called Clembuterol?
I think it was steroids, bro.
Oh, all right.
and wasn't that youth team, that Mexico youth team that won the the under 17 World Cup? They were accused of clenbuterol as well, weren't they?
Well,
Damn,
I
now you're
remember.
explaining that.
No, I remember
What was
when Mexico hosted the under 17 World Cup and like
Yeah, that's the one. Yeah.
every team
Okay.
every team except Mexico had Clen in their system because the
Hmm.
Mexican team was on a fish diet for the
Yeah,
tournament.
but I think the it was the meat and meant is tainted with that's the steroids they give to the cows down there.
Look,
So you
this is
probably
a
have it
very
in your hymen from when you were eating legs.
Oh, I have
like
Okay.
I have Clen in my system right now, bro.
those tacos, right?
He's,
I just got back from Mexico, bro.
he's,
I've been eating
you
tacos
feeling
and
it? You're running faster.
I'm
Our
There's a
lungs
famous
persist over 4 hours.
there's a case like there's a Houston Texan and I know about it because it was in the news. A lineman, a big black guy, right? He went to go he went to go vacation in the off season in Mexico in Cancun, and he ate a taco, and they traced back clenbuterol to it. Like that's how contaminated it is. But
so
Shit.
so do you believe Canelo or do you not believe him?
maybe not. But Can- Canelo, he's a hype job, man.
Oh,
You can't compare him to the elite of Mexican boxers. And I'm not putting Chavez either there because he was a bum, taxi bum killer.
damn.
Wait, which
Taxi bum
Chavez?
killer.
Julio Cesar,
Are you talking about
he
senior or junior?
both
Wait, what do you mean? What do you mean taxi bum killer? I wanna.
a bunch of TJ cab
Oh,
drivers, man.
he beat a bunch of like bum
A bunch of
fighters.
no names.
Oh, come on.
You take like 80 of those names off, man. No one knows who the hell they are.
Yeah, but in Mexico, you debut like you don't have an amateur career. You just debut as a pro. It's not his
No,
fault.
you're right. I'm not criticizing him about that. I'm criticizing him about who he beat, when he beat him, and how he beat him. The three G's. That's how you're in boxing. That's how the elite are ranked, man.
Yeah, but I
For
mean, he
instance,
had how
to
many
me,
title defenses?
against who though?
I don't know. I know he had a lot.
But
The most.
all right. Let's say, but then let's say you're in a weak era of fighters. Like,
He has no control over that.
no, you're right about that. But if I would have to compare him to another Mexican boxer, like Salvador Sanchez, he was the underdog in two of his biggest fights against a pound for pound number one in Wilfredo Gomez. The guy moved up in weight. Like I said, he was a 2-3 underdog. I mean, 3-1 underdog. I mean, the guy knocked him out. How many Hall of Famers do you have in your record? Things like that matter, you know.
I'm trying to
Like for
find. So
like for
he
instance, Canelo, he beat Sugar Shane Mosley.
yeah.
Like, well, when did he beat him? He was like
Oh,
40 something,
that guy
man.
was a bum. Yeah.
But he is a Hall of Famer.
Yeah.
But when did you beat him?
Yeah. He beat Roger
No, but we're just
Mayweather. I'm looking at his record.
he's a good fighter, but not a Hall of Famer.
He beat him twice actually, and then
He beat Pernell Whitaker. He beat what's
Meldrick
his name?
Mel-
Meldrick Taylor.
Meldrick Taylor. Yeah.
He beat Macho Camacho.
And
That's three names. Who else?
The Magic Mildred
Pernell
was
Whitaker
insane.
was a draw.
And he should have lost that fight. He lost every round of that fight,
He did, but
and he
he
got a
did whoop
draw.
his ass. No, the Magic Mildred.
No, yeah, he beat Meldrick Taylor, but
He,
Pernell Whitaker beat him every round.
oh, you saying they gave him the decision or what?
No, it was a
It
draw.
was a draw. Yeah, it's kind of like
I
how
do
Canelo.
remember the.
My
I
uncle
remember
won that fight. That's how I know. It was in
I
San
remember
Antonio.
the Magic Mildred felt he was losing,
Yeah, in the
but
last round
then
he came back.
he and then people were saying that the ref, because the ref stopped the fight.
He did. Yeah.
But you know what? That boxer after that, he
He was
lost
a
like a
mess.
chromosome.
Yeah.
Yeah, dude. He I'm sorry, dude. You lose that fight. It's, even if the ref wouldn't have stopped it, you still lost. That dude like shaking and he damn he just
I saw. Yeah,
he,
I saw like
he,
how there was like a couple seconds left before the fight was over, right? And the referee stopped it. Yeah. Pretty
I saw
crazy.
like an interview asking him about that, and it was kind of sad to watch.
Yeah, he's like
He just couldn't. Yeah, he saw like
mashed
four levels
potatoes.
deep of inception. Yeah, dude.
Yeah. Well,
And that's why I criticize soccer, like Mexican footballers, because Mexico's biggest glory, their go-to moment in sports all come from boxers, man. And they like Jaime mentioned, they come they start off real early. They don't have Olympic pedigree. They're thrown to the wolves. Like I don't know if you guys know about Orlando Salido. Like
no.
he has like 13 losses, and he had like 10 of them when he was like 15 years old, and he's like a
Damn.
three-time world champion. And then he made a lot of money in the last couple. Well, he's been retired for a couple of years, but that guy is an example of perseverance. Something Mexican footballers don't do. Like they don't take that risk. They don't take that chance. They're not prepared like that.
I'm down a rabbit hole right now. Category: Mexican sports people in doping cases. Canelo Alvarez, Jafet Amador, Salvador Carmona, Aaron Galindo, Lupita Gonzalez.
Oh, that one really pissed me off about that young girl. She was an ex boxer, and there's this boxing writer. He's a real dickhead, and he lives over here in the states, but he's always he's on his moral high horse, right? And he criticized her because she took roids during the Olympics, right? But
Trenbolone.
yeah, but
Anabolic steroid.
I invite anyone listening to this or you guys as well. Look up that documentary on Netflix called Icarus about how the Russians in the in the Olympics,
Oh yeah, they were
how
taking steroids. Yeah.
they literally did like James Bond scenes to get the roids from one room to another to avoid like officials and shit. Like it's some crazy James Bond shit that they had to do to get away with that.
Well, I mean,
And then
it was
then
during the Cold
there's this
War.
asshole, huh?
This is all during the Cold War, right?
No, it's in the Beijing Olympics.
Oh shit!
Yeah, it's
Recently?
recent, man. Yeah,
Oh damn!
like these guys are some certified cheaters, and there's this dickhead criticizing this Mexican girl because she took roids, but everyone else is taking them too, like Joel said. Like this is the extreme. This is the apex of sports, man. The Olympics.
I'm a little bit upset right now because all so there's only 13 Mexican athletes that were caught doped up. And unfortunately, all three soccer players played for Chivas. We had
You want to add a double whammy to
wait,
that?
Chava Carmona, Aron Galindo, and Julio Nava. All Chivas players. All doped. But go ahead.
Typical. No, but you add a double whammy. You if you want to add a double whammy to that, your current coach was part of the Cachirules.
Oh my god! Are you
Super
serious?
cheaters. Tramposos, man.
Joel's on daddy duty right now, but I need an explanation right now.
And Joel's over here bigging them up, but this guy's a certified cheater, man.
Ricardo Cadena. Gachi rules. So what was the story? He was
He was lying about
Wait,
his age, man.
no, that was from the that wasn't the players though. It was like the directivos, the coaches and the people in charge of the youth team, and it was only a few players that were over age. I don't know if he was one of the over
Yeah,
age
he was one of
players.
them.
He was one of them.
Yeah, he's a cheater. Like, how do you know? How do you not know your age, Joel? Come on.
No, they knew. I'm just saying it was it was like the federation, not the federation, but the people in charge of the team that told him, that capped him and they did all that.
So what you're
It,
saying
it
he
was
didn't?
what happened.
So what you're saying he didn't have any vergüenza deportiva?
Well, you're youth. You're trying to get national team call up, go to a tournament, go do these things, and you know, I think it's I don't know, it's youth. You do dumb stuff, but I mean that is a team that's gonna follow him. So I'm not trying to take
So
that
we all
away.
agree he's a cheater.
You know what? He is. He is. Can't say he's not because he did do it. I'm just saying he was a kid, he did some dumb shit.
That's crazy, bro.
Man, why?
Couldn't be my coach.
Well, maybe a couple years from now we'll find out why we were playing football champagne. Nene Beltran doing some steroids in the locker room, and
Looking like a Liga MX All Star, man.
somebody lying about his age. I don't know. We'll see. We'll see what happens.
When is he gonna win that title, Jaime?
Who?
Your boy El Nene.
I don't know, man. We'll see.
When is he gonna go to Europe?
That is entirely up to Chivas. Right now,
I
we
don't
don't
see
really
him
have
going to Europe.
we don't really have a good track record, and also he's very small. So I mean, he would have to
Yeah.
be.
And his price tag is probably like 20 million for some reason.
Nah. What are you looking at?
Knowing
Transfer
Chivas.
market?
I mean, I could see him at
No.
Ajax or something, but I don't know. I have no idea, man. We have a connection with PSV, and we have not used it yet. I have yet to see the.
You see, Mexico also has a connection with Italy, and I've yet to see anything come from that
What's
either.
the connection?
Like, yeah, that's what I'm
The
saying.
cheating.
Like,
It's going to be the cheating, Ricardo.
Wait,
wait,
no.
what?
A lot of the cheating happened in Italy during the
Oh,
2006 World Cup in the league when they took, 10 titles from Juventus.
oh, you're right. You're right.
I forgot what it was called, that whole scandal. But
They got a documentary about that too.
Yeah, that was a good doc, man. About U.S. scandal. Unfortunately, it got leaked to the press while they were still investigating it. So, I was watching the one about how the referee from the NBA was like betting on his own
Oh,
games.
that one's pretty good too. I watched it during the weekend.
Yeah, and it was pretty interesting the fact that like a conspiracy theory is that like the NBA knew about it and they leaked it themselves to like.
We're selling the beautiful game, man. They're modeling it up.
Well, I mean, it's
No,
like I will say like out of all sports, I think like the NBA officiating has way too much influence on the outcome of the
Oh, definitely.
like that one. You can literally control like the entire game from start to finish, so it's a little bit unfair.
Lakers, Kings,
Uh,
2000, 2001. There was like 20 free throws, like, and 15 fouls called, man.
yeah,
That shit was crazy.
yeah. I have a friend
It's like the equivalent of Chivas getting like 10 penalties in a game, man.
yeah, it was pretty bad. I know a lot of SAC people are very upset about that documentary because it like basically proves that what they had already known for a long time. But we almost made an hour without talking about this freaking Partido Molero and Tata. We lost to Paraguay, guys.
this was more exciting.
Do we even show up to the World Cup? Like, what's the point?
That that's a scumbag, man. He, I mentioned vergüenza deportiva earlier. This guy doesn't have any.
Damn.
Like they're saying in on Twitter, so a couple of the reporters that he presented his he resigned twice, one after the Canada game, and another against the U.S. game.
USA.
And I mean, how do you just quit like that after giving your word and trying to be?
Wait, but see, he didn't make it public, so how do we
No,
know?
but it's still very bad luck. Like how do you?
Nothing.
Wait,
But reporters saying it.
is this
What?
confirmed or is this all rumors?
It's
It's
confirmed.
rumors. Come on.
I
It
take
would
it as a
only be
confirmation.
confirmed if that happened. If it was, if he would have made it public at the presser, he would have been like, you know what? Here's my
You see,
resignation. I'm out.
I'd like to take it back a little bit if you guys would permit the number one fan to take it back to the
Yes.
America documentary real quick. Because it was a similar situation with Ben. They had a little. They gave a little bit of the limelight to the Ben Hacker era of America,
Yeah.
and something they were mentioning like 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 what everyone knows. Oh, they bring the great foreign players like Big Eek, Galusha, and all those guys, right? And they're flying, right? And everyone knows they didn't win anything. But they even mentioned in there, they're like, oh yeah, Ben Hacker, he was there, but then he kind of got bored being in Mexico. Like, well, not bored, but he would go to after every literally after every training session, he'd fly to Cuernavaca and golf. So I don't know if
That
maybe
doesn't sound like tired of being in Mex. You mean Mexico City?
yeah from
I
yeah
mean,
from Mexico City to Cuernavaca to
no,
golf.
no, but you said he was tired of being in Mex. But I mean, do you mean tired of being in Mexico City or in
No,
Mexico the
I mean
country?
just yeah no that's what I was getting to. Like these foreign coaches that come to Mexico, just like the players. This is just me uh, being a conspiracy theorist, Alex Jones version 2.0. But like the like these foreign coaches come to Mexico, and just like the players and the foreigners that come here, they get comfortable, man. And I think that's what's happening at Tata too. He comes to Mexico, and we've had like conversations about this in other pods. Like we'd like to think Mexico is like Argentina or Brazil in terms of pressure, but it really isn't,
Oh,
man.
we Kimosabi, son of manada. I've been saying this for a long time. I
Yeah.
never felt that the pressure's been there. I not like overall, like the way the teams have it, or even
Hmm.
players have it to succeed. The pressure will be more like sometimes on extra cancha or extra football,
Yeah.
or how like or like on the coaches I could see it too, especially the Mexican coaches, and they'll attack them in the media and like asking them to resign. He
Hmm.
just messed up, you know. But you're right. Overall pressure for these teams is not. We've seen very little. Like we saw what was happening with Monterrey with the players. You know, the players showing up, and that was what last season maybe they did it once or twice. In other countries, this is almost like weekly thing where it's like they won't leave you alone.
Like,
Um,
like I, for example, real quick, Cole. Like they meant, like I was watching I was on on TYT. I don't know. That's like the Argentine channel. Well, I
oh
was
yeah,
watching
torneos
one
y
of
competencias.
yeah, and
TYC.
I was watching one of the I was watching like I don't even remember the game to be honest, but like they were like talking about how Aldo Civi they descended right, and all the fans went out of protest and they burned the coach's car, and they're doing like some Wicker Man shit around it, like all around it, like holding hands and like casting their spells and shit,
And it's
like you're
harder
not gonna see.
to get a car.
Yeah, like you're not gonna see that in Mexico. That's what I'm trying to say.
You
Like,
might get some eggs on the hood of your car. That's what happened on Tuna.
yeah, on his BMW, yeah, yeah, but
No, the pressure, you're right. It's never been to that extent. Um, and I do think that's why sometimes, like you said, coaches can relax. And I do think someone like Finn Hacker, where it's like he could just go golfing, uh, you know, no matter what. At the end of the day, he's taking his G4 or whatever, flying up to Cuernavaca, and he's giving it
hmm
up. Turco Mohammed is one of the reasons that I heard he got fired
yeah,
because he would constantly take off to Buenos Aires. He would just leave, like even if the team lost, he would just have his like assistants do the training the next day, and he would be gone. And I do think that was a bit of a mistake they did with that, allowing him to, I guess, like allowing him or not conditioning him to be, I guess, in the country longer or like to see games or whatnot. Instead he's like checking out Argentine games. And I know he was getting
Newell's
criticized a
games.
while back. Yeah, he's he's watching you're watching the wrong players. Um, but I mean, and I think that's one of the reasons they sacked some of these dudes like Torrado and whatnot because I
Yeah,
guess
that guy.
in
He was
order to
living in Spain. That
bring they allowed him to have like all this, they gave
hmm
him all this leeway, and yeah, that was I think a mistake. You know, you know, I do feel you need to have more of a presence. I do think, which is why I feel justified with some of the criticism of like he doesn't call these other players and he's not even watching them. I mean, guaranteed he might have really good assistants or whatnot at the games, but as the coach, the fans and even the media or whatnot, even the players would want to see you at the stadium.
Yeah. I don't know, man. This Tata tenure is it sucked the soul out of me, man. And
Oh,
I
I,
I have
I,
no I have no expectations for the World Cup anymore, and I'm gonna be looking stupid
I,
in my shiny new. I bought the stupid jacket, man. I bought the
it,
reversible jacket, hundred and
that's a
well,
ten
nice jacket.
dollars. It's a nice
it's
jacket.
nice. It is.
We're gonna look good in the anthem. That's the only part of the World Cup we're gonna be looking
I'm
good is the
I'm
anthem.
like the James Franco meme where he has the rope around
First
his neck.
time?
He say, "First time, Jaime."
It's not my
We've
first
seen it.
time, but damn, bro.
It seems like it. No, I've seen Max underperforming. Dude, going into 2014, right? Team was looking like ass. Took a wonder goal from Jimenez to keep Mexico in the game. When to type Panama, and then we had Chicharito celebrating in what was it, Costa Rica, celebrating that the U.S. won, and that team didn't look very good. And they go to Brazil, and they had one of the best tournaments since '94. Um, and then going into the '98 World Cup, the team didn't look bad during World Cup qualifying, but when they handed it to La Puente, oh, the team just looked bad. It's like So it was if he was supposed to improve it, he did the opposite. And this team is looking like ass, and then they're collecting all these L's, and it's like, well, why are we going? Same sentiment. And it was one of the more exciting World Cups, that '98 World Cup in France. Um, so it's
Luis Hernandez.
yeah, Matador. It's a toss up for me, Jaime. That's what I'm saying. It could Mex could just because that's one thing Mex has shown at least since '94 that they once the World Cup starts, and especially if they're seen as underdogs, they tend to overperform. At least in the group stage, in the in the group stage, as I say, like if you're at the World Cup draw, you don't want Mexico in your group. You maybe you want them afterwards because they always lose, but not at the group stage, man. At the group stage, they're the buff dog. Once
I'm
they get to the next round, they're the little pupper that's scared in the corner.
I'm pretty sure Argentina is not losing sleep over us, dog.
Well, I prefer it like that. I want them to be overconfident.
Yeah, we're gonna get
I,
our shit pushed in, bro.
I smell a 5-0. Joel, it's interesting that you mentioned La Puente because he was on Fútbol Picante. I don't know if you guys seen that recently.
Oh, really?
I didn't see the interview, but I'm big. I'm big on La Puente, even though I hated him back when he used to coach.
America or Puebla?
No, Necaxa and then
Oh,
America,
you're right. What was I
and I
thinking
hated
first?
and
Necaxa.
I hated. Yeah, Puebla. I'm not that old. You're going way back, right? You're going far back, like early night. Way early night. Wait, 1991. Anyways, no, and then I didn't like how the team like they took. I was big on Bora, and I hated how they took the team and handed it to him. But I mean, if you look at his career and his results and everything he did, with the team, it's like he's been one of the best coaches and one of the most influential ones.
He definitely has the silverware to back it up.
Oh yeah, man.
But I was gonna say in that interview, like he pretty much confirmed what everyone knows. Like, but he didn't. But he washed his hands by saying no sé, right? He said
Yeah,
fight. Jose Ramon is like, do they impose players on you guys? He pretty much admitted
uh,
it without admitting it.
yeah,
So we know what the deal is. Like
yeah.
Luis Romo, Gallardo, Pizarro, all these
Pizarro.
guys. You don't have to go to the freaking
Ochoa.
Johan. Yeah, Ochoa too. I agree. You don't have to go to the freaking Johan Cruyff Institute to know these guys are bums, man.
Yeah, I don't know about Ochoa because he's been
All right, yeah,
big for
Ochoa.
the national team at the I mean, say what you want about him at club level, uh, at selección.
Oh, I was just
Aside from
trolling
the
there. I think always been great for the. I just wanted to
aside,
see. I
aside
just
from
wanted
the
to see if he'd
Chile
agree
game,
with me. He did. He was like, "Yeah,
he,
Ochoa."
did,
Yeah, well, yeah,
he
I'm
didn't even
biased.
put the fist up, man. You were just like,
I'm biased, obviously, but yeah, like Ochoa, yeah, I
no,
guess, yeah, thumbs up. But the other guys, I mean, there's no logical reason to take these guys.
and it,
yeah, like Pizarro. You have to wonder, like Pizarro, he's been playing like ass, and then I know Pastor likes him, but it's like you're not one of the better players. You haven't been for what, a good 3 years.
bro, La Chonquis is putting on a show right now, man. I would take La
We
Chonquis over Pizarro.
we talked about him, Jaime, that he deserves at least a Molero call up. Because I do think he's that type of player. He reminds me of like a little bit of what's this rapist name? Cabrito Arellano.
Whoa.
He
I thought you were going to say
he.
Chapo Montes.
I don't
He
know.
kind of reminds
I
me
don't
of
know.
him a little bit.
I don't know about his case, but I know. Oh, you mean players? I mean, no,
Yeah.
Cabrito, man. Like how they used to put him in, and he used to just cause havoc when they used to throw him in a lot of times.
Mm.
Um,
And it would
and
lead
I
to
do think,
nothing.
I know, but it was still, still, it's still fun to watch.
He was one of
Uh,
my favorite players, and then he said, "Oh, my heart's with Monterrey." I was so sad.
The guy would just dribble on the wing, and backwards pass every single time.
He'll dribble. Yeah, he'll dribble everyone. The opposing team, his team,
He said
the ref.
he had offers to go to Europe and he didn't want to because Monterrey was the team of his, you know, the love of his
Yeah,
life.
right.
I don't know. I just know.
Just like Ochoa said, Napoli was looking for him, right?
Well, Chora got fucked because what happened?
Well,
He like had like a drug testing that
No, wasn't it
wait, what?
when he
the Spanish passport thing?
no he like failed
Uh,
some he failed like a test or something and then
he failed a
the
test.
the
I know
deal
he was in France,
and
and
then
if
the
he would
deal
have stayed
dropped.
in France, he failed a test. Oh, like a physical test.
No, I
They're
think
like
it was
weird.
something happened where he like because he had a pretty good offer after the World Cup and then it fell through because of something.
A lot of those offers were fake, like Liverpool and
Yeah,
AC
that's what I'm saying.
Milan.
Yeah.
No, these
No, those were
like
real, bro.
Oh,
nah, dude, come on. They nah, not as a foreigner. Um, I know. I think I heard. I saw a tweet from Johnny Rico, and he was saying that
oh, I seen that the
Ochoa just
Mallorca, right?
huh?
The Mallorca offer. They're saying that on TUDN that he got offered
Oh,
to go to Mallorca.
well, I'm saying that the tweet from Johnny Rico was
He
saying
failed
that
a drug test.
okay, for the drug test.
Yeah.
Damn. No, well, right now supposedly he got his EU passport finally arrived, and yeah, he might go play with Aguirre. And I mean, he could leave if it's on a free, and he has that EU passport. I could see him going again,
Och-
and all these Euro nut riders jumping on the Ochoa train.
all right, I got the article. Ochoa is one of the 5 Mexican players who tested positive for clenbuterol after a Gold Cup match in 2011. And even though they were cleared 2 months later, when an investigation concluded that they had unwittingly eaten contaminated meat, the damage to Ochoa's career had already been done. He had an offer to go to PSG. It fell through, and the only team who stayed in touch was Axio.
Ah, so he could have gone to the farmer team. This was before they had all them balling ass players.
Now that you mention it, I do remember that
Yeah.
about the drug test. Yeah,
Dude, are you kidding me? His stock was super high and then
yeah.
just went down.
Them tacos, dude.
It's like Chato Enriquez, you know? Dude had
The biggest never was there ever was.
there's a lot. I can give you a list.
People were saying he was the next Rafa Marquez.
Chato?
Oh,
Nah.
Yeah. I remember hearing that.
I had more expectations for like Pina Arellano.
Oh man, well he
That
got
was
injured.
yeah, he got injured, but man,
Pina, and he
yeah.
what happened? He's like made out of porcelain, and he kept getting injured. But
His speed,
he
bro. Fuck.
he was popping right before Chicharo,
Yeah, I was on the
and
I
then
was
all
on
of
the
a
Pina hype.
sudden, and then all of us, yeah, there used to be videos. They took him down, comparing him to Messi or something.
Well, I mean,
It's
like
kind of
for
cringe.
me, it will always go down to that goal he scored in Libertadores, bro. It was like,
Ah, dude, yeah, he was like
pinche
on a
chulada,
motorcycle.
way. I'm like, fuck. This
You
guy.
guys are always comparing someone to Messi.
Yeah, la chonquis.
And you know what? I do have to eat some crow. He has looked good.
Dude, he goes in, he gets subbed in. He's like,
Yeah.
all right, I'm gonna go score now.
That's a perfect role for him. Like coming off as a sub.
That,
I would have loved to see
coming
him
off
with
or coming in?
coming in as a sub.
Coming in as a
Okay,
sub,
okay,
yeah.
sorry, me
Yeah,
confunded.
you come
Yeah,
in,
that's what I think. He could do that at the selección,
bro. He
Put him
can't
in
do
at
it at the
the
selección.
final 20 minutes.
We're gonna pull a
I
Bofo
think
and
he
put him
can,
in
man.
against
I think
Argentina.
they put him from the start. But I'm saying
I
like
said Rodilla. That guy's been talking a lot of crap about my team, man. Bum.
Bofo, man, that was his attitude was never there, man. That's why it's
He
kind of
walked.
sad if you see his career, because he had that talent where he should have at least
If
finished in a bigger team, and nobody wanted him in the league. Where he ended up playing like indoor soccer in Chicago you know, and playing with like with second division in Mexico, and it's like
If
that's
we want to talk about players that never was, in my opinion, number one has to be Carlos Vela. Number two, Bofo. Those are like for me the two biggest
uh,
flops of all time.
fla- I don't think Bella's a flaw, man. I mean, if I mean, I see how you're seeing it from the point you're seeing it, where he could
I,
achieve more,
I'm.
and I
It's
agree in
based
that
on
aspect.
it's based on like his capability and his potential and his ceiling and like the natural skill level that he had and where he was already. He was already in Europe by the time he was 14. Like like the expectations, bro, and like what he actually ended up achieving. That to me, that's the biggest flop of all time.
Well, yeah, flop is like he didn't meet your expectations, or
He never
he
won a
didn't win as
title.
yeah. But I think like like he's winning in life, man. He
Yeah,
has a
but I'm talking about from a.
sweet house.
No one's gonna know who
He's
he is in like 10 years, bro.
you don't. I don't think he cares though, man.
When we
How
talk
many
about like Mexico's
futbolistas do
greatest
we see?
footballers, he's not gonna be there. He's just
Yeah,
not.
but he doesn't care. I
I
mean,
know he doesn't
he
care.
has
I'm
his
just saying, like, that's the way I'm like, that's how we're ranking this is like based on like at the end of the day in football history, like no one's gonna talk about Carlos Vela.
yeah. But I mean, look, man. He set up his family to succeed, and
Well, good for
he's
him.
living like a really nice life, man. So all from soccer, where it's like he didn't even care much for the sport. It was like if you're good at tennis and you don't really like playing it, but you're gonna make all
Imagine
this
if he
money,
did
so
though,
you
Joel.
just do it on the side, huh?
That's what I'm
Imagine
saying.
if he did though.
Imagine if he tried.
Yeah, I mean it is sad in that point, but
That's where my gripe with him is because
Yeah.
take a look at his career, where he did shine the most was at Real
Yep.
Sociedad, right?
Sociedad
Yeah, and that's freaking
San Sebastian
yeah. San Sebastian's like a population like what 40,000, like zero pressure. That's perfect for him. Then
by
he
the
goes to
beach.
MLS. Yeah, and then he goes to MLS. He loves all the pocho attention,
Gets the
and he's living it up,
key of
right?
the city and everything.
Yep.
Gets to watch his
Zero
Lakers.
pressure. Yep.
Oh, this guy. Oh, he's winning in life. I'm not doubting him on that. I'm just saying, like, based on his ability, his talent, and what he actually ended up doing in his career, failure.
Hey, Joel, I also did you see that tweet? I tweeted you and the Cantina MX account
Oh yeah,
about that bum Herrera. He's living it up.
damn,
He's living it up down here in Houston.
bro. What else are you gonna do, man? It's fucking Houston.
I
I agree,
haven't
man.
seen it.
He's
I
just
need to
like
go
taking
look at
shots or what? He's at a club or
Yeah,
what?
he's taking a he's they're
it. Like bottle
pouring
service.
they're pouring the bucana they're pouring the bucana in his mouth like a female, and he's drinking it.
Well,
And the article said, oh, he was supposedly injured, and so that's why he didn't travel with the team, right? But then they took the picture of him taking shots at some concert. I don't know who the hell's singing, but this guy's a bum, man.
hey, dude. I mean, he might not be able to be on the pitch, but anybody can take a shot, even if you're injured.
I suppose.
But no, I mean, obviously it does look bad, but
And then he's gonna start in the World Cup.
oh,
That's
don't say that. Don't say that.
He's definitely gonna start.
Yeah,
Let's not talk
And
about sad stories right now, man. Bro,
and
our starting lineup is gonna be so trash. It's gonna be Gallardo. It's gonna be fucking what's his dude? The guy from Cruz Azul. Or he's that?
Chadley
No. Well, they swap teams.
or Luis Romo.
Fortuna.
Yeah, Romo. It's gonna be Pizarro. It's gonna be Herrera. Oh my god. It's gonna be Funes
There's a lot
Mori.
of Jaime.
Antuna.
There's a lot of these stories that are like the underdog.
Oh boy.
That's perfect for the.
Me-
I
I'm
think
I'm
this
gonna be
World
mad,
Cup
bro.
though is very gloomy Joel. I don't see. And you mentioned the previous World Cups, and I can't deny what you said. And they've always risen to the occasion, more or less, right? When
Also, what happened?
no, continue.
No, I say that. Just like Mexico's bound to ultimately, like, just from always being at the World Cup, you're bound to one day, like, get that quinto partido, but you're also bound to get sent home on the first, you know,
Group stage.
on the group stage. And it's happened to pretty much every team now since '94, except Brazil and Mexico. But I mean, we've seen France, Germany, Italy,
Yeah, Germany in the
all these,
last World Cup.
all these teams.
Yeah, but the difference is they learn from it and they walk away with some silverware at the end. And I don't see anything changing for Mexico. Whether we leave in the first round or we leave in the second round, like
But it
nothing
did
is
change,
changing.
Jaime. But
No,
it has.
it's just
It
consistency
has.
of being mediocre. That's just all we've achieved.
No, but
And that's like
I,
it's an award in its own because like you mentioned, like there's not too many teams that can consistently get to that next game. But it's like, dude, like I just haven't seen any progression since I've been alive, dog. And it's just fucking frustrating. It's like, why even
well,
bother?
well, you're not. See, you're not.
And I'm
I
glad that I
think.
wasn't born in the era where we were losing to like shitty teams and getting embarrassed at the world stage. But this is
You're
all I have.
minimizing the progression
This is all
because
I have to base on is what I've lived through the 90s and up until
yeah,
now,
but
and it's 30 years
they
of nothing.
no, I wouldn't say nothing because they Mexico's record pre '94 was pretty abysmal. Um, and then they couldn't really beat. They didn't really have that many W's, let alone against big teams. So the fact that they've beaten already Germany, they've beaten France, they got draws against like Holland, Italy.
We beat
So I mean, it's
Italy, we beat Spain. Yeah, I mean it's cool.
France.
Spain. What?
Friendly.
Oh,
No, I'm saying at the World Cup.
yeah, France. We beat France.
Yeah, we beat
No,
France.
but I'm saying at the World Cup. If you
Oh
look at
yeah.
Mexico's record, at one point they couldn't beat those teams. Just going into the
But it's
what
more
is it,
about them having a bad
Argentina.
day than us having a good day. It's just like it was because
What?
it
See,
it
now
wasn't
you're
because we
minimizing.
outplayed them, bro. Like did we outplay them? I don't
Win's a
know.
win, dude.
I get your point, but and I agree, and I agree with Jaime too. I'm agreeing with everyone, but
you,
but
you
what's
can't
that
agree.
book? That book is escaping my head right. It's escaping me right now. That German book that they had about how Germany fracasó in the World Cup and they did a whole reboot of the project. What's it called?
It's not Das reboot, I guess.
Yeah. Like when is our next reboot, man? When are we getting that?
We're
When are
not
we gonna
But but,
skip?
we're
you,
not
but
gonna
you're
get it
talking about
because
Germany that
we're not gonna get it
wait
because
wait but see wait perspective Jaime. When did they do this? Like after what fracaso?
It's escaping me right now. I just came from a walk, Joel. I'm relying on you, man.
I didn't ever get to read that book, but I mean, this is a country that's been football mad for a long time. With one of the, they've had like a Premier League for a long time, and they just have a winning history, and
dude,
they
it's
they just they have a lot of things in their favor already, just from being in a region where there's teams like Spain and Italy and France and England that could they could push them, that they could compete against. Mexico just doesn't have that.
but dude, all right, this is the way I see it. And it's very fucking easy. If you make it a priority to become a world power, you will make that happen. If you put the money to the side. And Mexico will never fucking do that because it doesn't matter what product they put out there on the pitch. They're selling tickets, they're selling jackets to Muppets like me. They're selling out everywhere they go, bro. It doesn't matter what's on the field because they're getting paid like crazy. So until Mexico makes a priority to be like, yeah, fuck all that. Let's actually make an effort to become a world power. How do we get there? What's the blueprint? Like, if they were actually to make an effort to truly make this a vision for themselves and like put the money to the side, then it would have happened a long time ago. But it's never gonna happen because We have our rich neighbors up north, USA, and we're just basically their bitch. They're pimping us out,
No,
bro.
man, the
We're getting
process has
pimped out
just
right
been
now.
slow, Jaime. It's just been a slow process, but Mexico has managed to be a top 20 team
They should have done this when they
for
won the
like,
World Cup when they were under 17. They said, "All
I,
right, here we go. We did this at the under
yeah,
17 level. We're going to become world champions at the senior level in like 10
but
years."
you,
But and they didn't do anything. They didn't do any
but
effort
we
to
can't
make it
go
happen.
off a youth turn. We can't go off a youth
I
tournament
know,
to
but they
say
should have made that like
this.
the vision. They should have used that as an excuse to be like, "All right,
But
let's do this
but they
at the
kind of
senior
have
level."
because eventually they managed to make the youth teams more competitive to the point of there's Olympic gold, and then there's under 17 uh, cups where before you didn't really hear much about them because uh, they just didn't put much effort. So there has been improvement like across the board. If you see like Mexico's results and and participation in tournaments, they've been doing really good throughout the years. They're just having they're just not where we would like them to be, but they are a top like they're always like in the top 20 and they're always like closer to the top 10. They're always between 13 and 15. I mean, out of
How do we
200
get to the
teams,
top five to
You
the top
can't.
six?
Not with
well,
the current
you need a
model.
top league. Well, you need a first. I think you need a league that's very competitive, and I think the Mex League is just it hasn't been able to do that. Uh, Not just the league, but even the second division league. You also need, like England has Premier League, but they also have the Championship, which is also like at a high level. And I do feel they need that. They need to have that.
I mean, all you can do, you can't choose what region you're in. That's just like you can't control that. Obviously, no team outside of South America and Europe have won the World Cup. So it's like other countries have had this issue in the past. If we cannot make our region better or rely on our region, then the thought is, oh well, you just send everybody else to Europe and you'll see success there, which we've done and hasn't fixed the problem. We haven't seen any improvements. We're still getting eliminated in the round of 16. What I will say, and we've talked about this plenty of times, is like we just limit the amount of foreigners that are in our league, and we just continue to
Yes,
find
I agree.
and we continue to find talent. I was actually true story. I was playing Rocket League, and these dudes were from Chihuahua, and they're saying that they have so much talent in Chihuahua, and it's mainly like not a town where like a lot of there's not much going on as far as soccer goes.
Hmm.
Like there's not scouts looking for them. It's actually known a little bit better for their baseball than it is soccer. But he says that there's so much fucking talent there, and like some people get lucky and get scouted by like Monterrey and like Nuevo León because it's kind of close. But he says like, yeah, dude, if there was like more scouts like looking like the talent's here, and that's Chihuahua. That's just like a prime example. But it's like, dude, like I can't imagine how many other similar stories there are in Mexico, and we're just over here looking at foreigners and buying Danny Alves's of the world. When, dude, we have better talent in like our backyard. Like I don't understand why we're looking. We're always looking for like the foreigner or the exterior. But like, dude, look within. It's already there. We have gold.
Well, I mean, there's one thing. First is like getting these players is not free, so you just can't go and load up in a bunch of noobs and and then see which ones are gonna pan out because you could look really good. Freddie Adu was world class from like age 12 to like
Yeah, well, he was like fucking 20.
18.
He fucking
I
lied about his
know,
birth certificate, dog. He ain't
but
14, dog.
you could look gold. You could look gold, and then by the time you hit 18, all of a sudden you suck. And so that's one thing to keep in mind. It's like yeah, you could be looking good, but teams don't have like they have limited resources, so they can't just bring 200 youth that they found and see and house them all and it costs money just having enough coaches for all those players. So it's limited how many players
Yeah,
they
but
could
what's
take.
more expensive in the long run? Overpaying for these like mediocre players that are coming from.
Yeah, well, both because with some of these players they could still sell them. A lot of times they manage to sell them or get some money back. You don't get no money back with the youth. you could have him 3, 4 years since they're 12 or 14, and then they didn't pan out, and you spent all these wages on, not just, and I don't mean player wages, but like for coaching and
Yeah, I get it.
clothing and all that stuff. So I mean, I think that's limited, and that's one of the things just we have to like keep in mind. But I agree with you on the number of foreigners. I do think it should be limited, like 3 or 4, and then the team should just concentrate on. If we only have 3 or 4, they're going to be really good, right? Instead of having like
Right.
8, and half of them are petardos, just 3 or 4 that are of like top quality, and then just have as many Mexican players playing. Um, because the talent is there. I do think the talent is there. And we've had players like Rafa Marquez, Hugo Sanchez, Cuauhtemoc, but there's not that many players like Mexicans playing across the board, not just in first division, but like lower division. So just having like what 12 players that go to Europe, and the majority are like not even
Bench.
starters, they're like bench.
Yeah.
That's not gonna help. That's not gonna help. Having all these dudes, you know, every time they see a youth, like pushing to send them abroad, like that's gonna fix them. That's dumb too. So I think a very competitive league with with a lot of players. I mean, like look at Uruguay. Their league is not even that competitive, but because they have so many homegrown talent,
Yeah.
they export so many players, man. It's crazy, but
Yeah.
and very competitive as far as like they're pretty broke.
They sell
I
cheap
think
because
Uruguay.
it's not a sustainable league, and they're just trying to get a return on their investment with the future transfer, release. Like they put a little
Yeah,
fee in there, and they get their money back in the long run.
I,
But yeah,
I think that's Spurs are the biggest. I think the majority of games are played at the one stadium.
probably. I mean, it's only 3 million
Yeah,
people.
so I think they use the one. I think you mentioned America played every game at Azteca, because then the other teams had just it just made more sense because other teams have like the probably don't even have a stadium. They just have the field. They
really,
just have a
yeah.
yard where they play.
Really quickly, we do have another speaker, Danny. Sorry, man.
Uh,
We were trying to get to you, man. I saw you requesting earlier, but feel free to speak up and welcome to the show.
Thanks, man. Can you hear me right now?
Yes, sir.
yes.
Okay, yeah, yeah. I mean, I know you. You guys were talking, and what's it called? Appreciated the passion that you guys were going into with the team and everything like that. Ultimately, what I just wanted to say was, I'm also not looking forward to how Mexico are looking towards the World Cup, just because of the players that are getting called up and the way that we played together. I know the Paraguay Mexico game was like a Molero, and we had like a bunch of young players, but the way we played, the way Tata is making us play is not something that I'm happy about. And I'm not confident that Mexico will get out of the group stage. And yeah, that's pretty much all I have to say.
Hey, man. Thanks for coming on and being patient with us. But yeah, I mean, like I said, I'm with you, bro. Like, not looking forward to this World Cup. But then, of course, Mexico always does the impossible, right? They always give us that glimmer of hope. But it's never
Aquí le va Danny.
it's never in the way that you want it to happen. But go ahead, Ricardo.
Danny, aquí le vas.
Oh, bro, Chivas all the way, dude.
Oh man, come on.
That's all we needed to hear.
If there's two things Chivas fans always need is a lupa to look up all the pictures of the championships, and they need their archaeology hat because there isn't anyone alive that's seen that, man.
That's
Eres un
seen
estúpido.
what?
Those championships,
What championships?
those Stone Age titles.
Oh, you mean the Campeonísimo era?
Yeah,
That's but
there's
see,
like
as
a
an
picture somewhere with
Americanista,
like a mammoth.
how you bringing that up when America's trying to We've been trying for years to add the amateur era campeonatos to the regular count. Hey, going
Well,
back
that's
to the 1920s.
well because America should have 18 titles. That's why.
It would have been more than 18. Now, like four, I think, and then like I don't know how many cups.
Well, folks, we're getting to the end of the show. We do have some decent mashups over the weekend. Again, the football gods have blessed us this week. So much soccer going on. We do have Juarez and Rayados kicking things off on Friday. Querétaro Santos, Necaxa América, Tigres León, Toluca Pumas, Chivas Puebla, Cruz Azul Mazatlán, Atlas San Luis, and Pachuca Tijuana. And then on Tuesday, Chivas Tigres. Wednesday, America Santos. So a lot of good action that's going to be happening this weekend. Boys, I'll start with Danny. Any closing thoughts? Anything you want to say to the listeners, or anything that's on your chest you just want to get out?
I mean, I just love Chivas, and hopefully Mexico does better. They go above my expectations. Essentially, that's it.
For sure. Definitely welcome to come back on the show. We're always here on a Tuesday, Wednesday night, and we always love to hear from everybody. Ricardo, what you got for us, man?
First off, I'd like to thank you guys for inviting me again.
Oh, yeah, always a pleasure.
Of course, I'm the number one fan, man. I've been with you guys from through thick and thin.
Thank you.
But my final point, and I don't want to argue with anyone or anything, or you guys have your mind set up or whatever. Well, I also during the weekend, I seen a article posted about how that Pocho kid, Julian Araujo, that Barcelona was trying to get him, right? That he was like a second option.
Really?
But yeah, but LA
Yeah, I saw it.
Galaxy refused to sell him.
Oh,
So this goes back to my original point that's been proven time and time again. This isn't just me uh like bigging myself up even though I like to do that. MLS holds Mexican players to a higher regard than their own players. That's why they sell them for a bag for bags of cacahuates, and they refuse to sell the Mexican players because they know that's where the money's at. Mexican fans make up the football, and not only in Mexico but in the U.S. That's why that's why they've been sold a lie. Mexican players don't go to MLS because they're just gonna hold you hostage, man, and that's it.
it's like a
But
it's like a it's like a double whammy, right? It's like you're exporting your own as
yeah,
as cheap as possible, but then when it comes to Mexican players, you're like, nah, let's keep them in MLS.
It's
no,
sabotage, man. That's what it is.
it's no,
It's
you guys
40 chess is
are
what's happening.
Yep.
no man, you guys are like overboard with some of this stuff.
I got my tinfoil hat on, man. I'm down for the conspiracy theories.
It's
The
no
proof
conspiracy,
the
man.
proof is in the pudding, Joel.
Okay. Okay, well, first you gotta see how far along a player is in their contract when they leave. So it's like their contract's about to expire, then yeah, that club is gonna have to, you know, negotiate cheaper because it's either that or lose them on a free transfer. So you have that happening a lot, especially if a player's been getting scouted, and teams, Europe teams do that a lot, where they come, especially to South American teams, where they go down and they cite their talent and they'll try to get them for very cheap. We'll see some players that go for like a lot of money, but that's a few. You know, like if you look at the list of how many transfers, the majority, man, they're being like they're being sniped or taken for very cheap. So that's one of the things. The other thing is, first, we don't know if Galaxy didn't want to negotiate. I saw there was a reporter from Spain, and he was talking about that, and he said that the Galaxy was asking for too much money, and I asked him what's too much, because we're looking at Barcelona that has paid stupid money, right? So it's like, really, how much is too much? Was it 5 million? Was it 10? Even 20? Is that a lot? You
or
know,
maybe it wasn't that much and they refused to sell them.
but see, we don't know. We just getting secondhand accounts, so it's hard to criticize or say if we don't have like the proof. So that's
Um,
and sometimes they do things like that just to see the unrest and be like, hey, we're keeping tabs, and then the player's not going to want to extend the contract or whatnot, especially if they already like approached them and been like, hey, what do
All
you
I'm
think of coming over here?
all I'm gonna say is that MLS is yet to export a Pocho player that represents Mexico to Europe.
Ricardo Pepi. Oh wait, sorry, he plays for the United States.
Exactly.
Um,
Jaime, real quick, if you'd permit me, please.
yeah,
You mentioned something in the last podcast
yeah.
that I have to comment.
Let's hear.
It's digging inside me, man. Like that Figo documentary on Netflix
Oh yeah, yeah, yeah.
compared to the America one, I thought it was more or less very good. I'd give it an 8 out of 10.
Yep.
But what that guy did, that Florentino Perez, that guy's the biggest scumbag in the world, man. Like I know the systems are, I mean the way things are they operate is different from Mexico, but how do you buy a player if you're not the president of a club yet? What kind of
Yeah, that
stupid
shit's
shit is
crazy,
that?
bro.
Por
That's
eso
like
But
le
that's
voy a
how they would
that
do
was
Newcastle,
his
it.
man.
That's how
presidential
they would do it.
campaign, bro.
Yes, exactly.
Disgusting. Por eso there's a lot of Mexicans that go to Real que le van a Madrid because of Hugo and obvious reasons. I can never uh I can never root for a club as disgusting as that, man. Por eso le voy a Newcastle
Wait,
for
but
for, for gold.
you
You
guys
think
are
Newcastle
a
owned
lot of
by
people. A
American?
lot of people make the comparison that like you guys are the Real Madrid of Mexico, though, and I would agree with that.
Wait, Jaime, I think Newcastle's owned by Americans as
No,
some MLS
Newcastle
owners.
got some crazy money now.
Yeah,
No,
but who owns them?
they're owned by the Public Investment Fund. That's the Saudi Arabia's.
They got some oil money now, bro.
Yeah,
Okay,
I
hold on.
actually I did. You mentioned Julian Araujo, but I did have a question regarding Zendejas because like people are confused whether he's eligible to play for Mexico or for United States. But he made a one-time switch already, so it's like he can't go back to the United States, right? He can't play.
actually, he
No,
didn't,
he,
Jaime.
he hasn't signed. He hasn't signed the dotted line.
I'm glad you brought that up, Jaime. This guy broke Chivas's biggest rule before it was unwritten again recently. Like, you guys had an American player play for Chivas,
No, no, no. When he joined Chivas, he agreed to not take any more caps from United States.
but he was still American though. He represented America. He's represented the U.S.
No, but he wasn't playing for the United States after he
But
he
but
joined Chivas.
but FIFA. But that's not how FIFA views it though, Jaime. They need that one time switch, man. You guys played with an American,
Well, he was eligible to play for the United States, similar to like how we ended up doing what's his name, the Peruvian.
but the bylaws back then were clear,
I guess the
Jaime.
difference is
You,
though he was born in Juarez though, so he is Mexican technically. Yeah, but
I suppose.
it is interesting though because like now it's like he can't play for the United States even if they wanted to call him up, right?
I'm hearing conflicting reports about that. Supposedly he can play for the U.S. if he makes that one time switch,
No,
which he
but
hasn't made.
he already played for Mexico.
I'm that what's his name? Martin. What's his name? Martin del
Palacio.
Palacio.
Yeah,
He was saying something different.
he made a debut October 2021 friendly against Ecuador, and he also started a friendly against Guatemala back in April. Most fans assume that his call up to Mexico's his one-time switch had been completed. However, the FMF never publicly announced one. Yeah.
Similar to that kid that played for Mexico in a friendly recently. That kid that plays for Real Sociedad, that other Pocho kid, like he's still technically a U.S. Men's national team player, similar to Zendejas, even though he played with Mexico in a worthless friendly.
Huh.
I think you, because this goes back since like It goes way back, man. You could, I think, 80s. What was this guy's name? It was this Mexican player, and then he ended up switching to the U.S. And then he was with Jurgen Klinsmann. He was one of his assistants, and ended up going to Bayern with him. I forget that guy's name. Martin
Did he play
something.
for Santos?
I don't remember who he played
Uh,
for. It's going way back way. But I mean, that's happened like a lot. Not often, but it's happened like throughout the years. So I think as long as you don't play in an official game. So I mean, with this guy, he hasn't played an official game, and I think they're trying to get him to sign a paper, and he said, if if you want me to do the switch, guarantee me the World Cup.
So that red, white, and blue uniform would have fit him very nicely. Then he would have been used to it.
Is
With
he?
Chivas
But
and
I
the
mean,
U.S.
is he? Well, he could play in both now, so the team,
Man, you guys are inviting USA players, Peruvians. Then before you know it, they're gonna invite that girl that plays for that Raponi, that female player.
no.
She's
See,
gonna be
like
scoring goals for the men's team soon.
as as long as it's Mexican-born players or sons of Mexicans, that as long as they keep that, I don't think people are gonna care what national team.
That'll change soon.
Well, yeah, because we're gonna see more, but I don't think it's like people thought it was gonna be a bigger deal with Ormeño, and no one cares now, right? You don't have people doing Wicker Man on his car or on Peláez car or whatever. That was just most because of the media kept hyping that up, and so I do think eventually we'll see like some U.S. national, but
Pepe,
I,
the way he's looking.
I don't think it's I don't think it's gonna like in the long run people are gonna care that much. I was a bit surprised when I saw Donovan when he went to Leon, right? Because for many years he was like public enemy number one. Uh, and dude, he had fans in Leon, even though he didn't play him, but the people there loved him. So that's just Mex fans, man. We're not
See, you
as we
say that.
talked about earlier. Huh?
How you say that? Well, my tío le va a Chivas. And I'll never miss him. Anytime I see him, I always remind him there's a Peruvian on the team, man. Always.
And what does he say though?
He turns. Have you seen the Stranger Things, where the Vecna lo levanta and his eyes roll back, and he starts floating? Así se pone.
Damn. I mean, 'cause to me it's like I don't. It doesn't bug me.
I was trying to find his name, Edgar Castillo. He played for Mexico and then he switched to United States, and yeah, I mean he was able to get cleared. So,
So that's what they call it, homie.
I don't
That,
know.
was that his nickname, homie Castillo? Or am I thinking of
Mm,
someone else?
are you talking about like Hobbit?
No, homie, like homie.
Homie? I don't know, man.
Yeah.
That's a weird nickname.
Chivas players have lame nicknames. Tortas, homie, trophies,
Chiquete, Chicote.
chupete. Yeah.
Yeah, we got some weird ones. But want to thank everyone for hopping on tonight. I love it. I love it. I love it. I love it. We're gonna have a lot of football in the next between now and the next episode, so we'll make sure to catch everyone up. If you are listening to this and you're not live, join us next time. We're always on Twitter Spaces and on YouTube as well. And Anchor FM, they kind of changed it up, and you guys can actually support us now. So if you guys like the podcast, want to support us, go ahead and do so through our landing page. But we appreciate everyone so much. We'll catch you in the next episode, and hang in there. The World Cup's almost here. Bye, everyone.